creepy guy in the pumpkin patch. I ended up dropping the word "the" at the beginning of the title because I think it sounds better that way, but we'll see how it goes. So far, I have a title. I've bounced around some ideas in my head. I don't really know for certain what I'm going to do with this story, but we'll just dive right into it and see what happens. So, Creepy Guy in the Pumpkin Patch by J. Wilburn. Shepherd lived next to the pumpkin patch. Let me add something in there to tell how old they are. When they were 12, Shepherd lived next to the pumpkin patch while Cassidy, is that how you spell Cassidy usually? I think it's one of those names you can spell a bunch of ways. Cassidy lived next to the graveyard. So Shep thought he had it better than her up until the day he spied the creepy guy. Cass's parents were going to be, let's not say that day, until let's say 4 days before Halloween, until 4 days before Halloween, when he spied the creepy guy among the pumpkins. I'll just keep making the sentence longer until it's the entire story. Alright, so we have that so far. Cass's parents were going to be late. I don't need to say that. That can come up later in conversation. Cass ran over to Shep's house after she finished her homework and before her parents got home. That's how she found him standing in his side yard, staring at the pumpkins up the slope. She watched him a moment, and then tried to decipher what had his attention so pinned. Families walked up and down the slopes through the rows of giant orange pumpkins. Many of them sat displayed on hay bales. Grandparents took pictures. Teens rode around on a hay wagon. Cass suspected that they drove extra pumpkins in to sell to families in town, but Shep said he never saw them do it. Nothing seemed out of place. Nothing that would hold Shep frozen like this. She reached out and touched his sleeve. Maybe she was going to say something too, but when he startled, she let out a scream that drew the attention of some of the browsing families several feet away. I didn't even know you were there, he said, holding his throat. She crossed her arms over her chest and felt her heart throbbing away. What are you looking at? I'm not positive. He stared up the slope again, and she grabbed his arm hard this time. Don't get weird on me again. What is it? He pointed. She followed the line of his finger as close as she could. He had one eye closed, as if he were aiming to shoot at something. He wouldn't have hit it, whatever it was, because he was pointing at nothing. He was way above the outermost families, seeking the perfect carving. Let's say perfect pumpkin for carving. I was about to do it the other way. To the right of his aim was a gnarled tree that spooked Cass a little far to the left of his point. Got another bot on here, I'll get rid of him in a second. Far to the left of his point, the tractor pulling the hay wagon retreated with a rumble. What is it, Shep? I can't see him just now, but if I keep looking, he'll be there again. Cass stared at the flattened ground spread with hay. She started to think that maybe he was pointing at the trees at the far end of the expansive field. But then she saw it. Alright. But then she saw it. Alright, let's find out what it is. It was more than a shadow, more than a flicker or a spot in her vision. She might have missed it if Shep wasn't pointing out the spot in advance. It was solid. It was real. What it was, she could not swear to just then. The shape of a man, for sure. In the moments before she lost sight of it again, she at once thought it was smaller than her, and then positive it was too big to be a real human. Disheveled clothes draped its hulking body for as long as it was visible. She thought it was walking away or frozen in the act of walking. But then she made out the eyes and jagged split of a mouth hidden back in the open shadow of its shirt, chest, and broad hat. A moment longer, maybe a half moment in real time, she believed she was looking on the specter's profile. His skin, though, there was something wrong. Let me make that a new paragraph. Okay. His skin, though, there was something wrong. With his skin. Then she lost it. It wasn't a fade out. It wasn't a vanish in an instant either. It was like a blind spot or a fold. Is blind spot two words? It's like a blind spot or a fold in the air that blocked her view from this angle. As if a curtain swung through her vision and might swing away at any moment. Now she realized she stood in Shep's side yard with the same frozen posture and stare he had when she walked up. She walked up on him. Keep looking, Shep said. If you keep looking, he appears in... I saw him, she said. Not long. And not now, but I did. Are you just saying that, Cass? Because the longer I'm here, the more I think I'm making it up. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm sure I saw it. Shep let out a sigh and said, God, I was kind of hoping I had made it up. Which way is he facing? Shep lowered his finger and bit his lip. Depends on when you see him, I think. Is he moving? Have you seen him in a different spot, different times? Not exactly. He was there again for a cold second. She thought he was closer and reaching out for her. But as her vision settled on the details, now he was 3/4 profile and striding away. More accurately, the figure, let me spell accurately correctly while I'm here, just for kicks. More accurately, the figure, now giant for sure, was in the posture of striding. His outline sort of floated, which marred the real tracking of his motion. But before he was out of her focus again, Cass read his position as moving in slow motion. Shep inhaled sharply the moment Cass saw the figure the second time, and exhaled once she lost it again. They were seeing it in the same moments. When did you first see it? Shep glanced up at his house. They were under the window for his second floor bedroom. He was, let's put a quotation there, he was easier to see from up there. Why? Shep stared at her now with his brow wrinkled. How should I know? Don't even know what we're seeing. She shrugged. Maybe it is being up high. He looked up at his window and then started running. Come on. She looked over her shoulder as she followed and caught the thing looking back at her for one visible instance. Its skin was blue, gray, and wrinkled like dry ground, or like a reptile with loose flesh. Cass stopped at the top of the porch steps as Shep threw open the door. Your parents. He tilted his head. Not home. Won't be for a while. You sure? It'll be fine. Come on. Shep's mom had gotten mad the last time Cass was over without them. She had been in Shep's house plenty as they were growing up, but now it was a problem for his mom. Cass didn't understand, but she knew something had changed. She followed him up the stairs. Through the glass of his window, where they knelt at the end of his unmade bed. The figure was solid and unwavering. It was, no, I don't need to say was, it angled away in slow motion like a beast walking along an ocean floor. Through the glass, it almost looked like it was under water. It looked like a man in every way except size, posture, and its strange skin. Cass pointed toward the front of the pumpkin patch. None of them see it. Doesn't seem so. At least one kid would be screaming if they did. The figure was shedding. It could have been dry skin, but it looked more like fluff off a let's say a flower. Fluff off a flower, or trailing light off a melting comet. Open the window, Cass said. Why? I just want to see something. Open it. Shep worked the latch. It held stubborn at first, but then popped free. He pushed the window up halfway. figure lingered. It never exactly disappeared any time she saw it, but it wasn't there again, like in the side yard. It's not the height, Shep said. It's the glass. Look, he had straightened his back. She raised up too and saw the languishing shape trekking ever so slow across the pumpkin patch. Cass stood up and looked from a little higher. Now she gasped. What? Shep asked. Look through where the glass overlaps. He did and saw what she saw. Alright. Through two panes of glass, the figure flitted about the field. Sometimes he seemed to be going faster, maybe half normal speed. Then he'd jump forward a moment closer to the hay bales before returning to his relative spot. Then he'd jump back in time near the top of the slope where his journey might have begun. Then back again. He wasn't exactly in more than one place at a time, but he sort of was. Shep left the window. I want to try something. What? He dug through an old toy box full of things too young for him. He came out with a pair of white sunglasses with lenses shaped like stars. Cass remembered wearing those when they played movie stars as little kids. Are you going out there with those on? I want to see what he's doing, Shep said. I don't know, Cass said. He dug a little more and found another pair of sunglasses. These had suns for lenses. Wearing sunglasses of their own. Hey man, thanks for showing up. Good to see you. Alright. These had sons wearing lenses wearing sunglasses of their own. She remembered looking through them, and they looked like normal sunglasses. I'm not going out there, she said. He put on the star glasses. I'm afraid to go alone. Then don't go. He handed her the sunny pair and she took them. Please, Cass. I have to sleep here at night. I can't do it if I don't know what that thing is. Oh yeah, thank you, man. I got all kinds of medical tests going on, so I've been at one appointment after another, so it's just one of those things we got to figure out. I appreciate you checking up on me. All right, please, Cass, I have to sleep here at night. I can't do it if I don't know what the thing is. She put on the glasses and looked out the open window. The thing looked more solid than ever. They walked back outside and to the edge of the pumpkin patch. The figure seemed more solid. She lifted the glasses long enough to see it gone before covering her eyes again. Shep stepped out of his yard and between the pumpkins. Shep, why? If it can hurt us, standing over here won't help. That's crazy, she said at his back. Cars are dangerous. If you step in front of them, we are safer here. He kept going, so she followed. At a pace that brought her back to his side. The figure managed two slow steps in the time it took them to reach it. The families walked past Shep and Cass without giving them a look. How do they not see it? Shep said. Yeah, I was going to do ask, but said is fine. There's no need to, unless you're doing a children's story, there's no reason to really veer from said very much. How do they not see it? Shep said. Cass turned in a full circle. Maybe they can't see us either. Maybe we've been dead the whole time. They met each other's gaze. They met each other's gaze through stars and suns. Then they broke out laughing. Alright, let me spell and correctly. Should at least get that one right. The families did look at them then. Shep walked around the shape twice. Each time he was gone from her sight on the other side. She was sure she'd never see him again. The figure was shedding skin. Fat, dry flakes of transparent blue drifted to the ground around it. The figure was shedding skin. Fat, dry flakes of transparent blue drifted to the ground around it and was lost in the dirt. It had a chain running from one deep pocket to a clip on its belt loop. A chin strap held its broad hat over its head. The string was lost in the folds of its flesh. On the third step, it managed. She saw its coat was a sort of olive green duster. On the back was a faded cross shape. It looked like it could have been a patch. What does it want? Cass asked. Alastica said. Shep cut his hands. What do you want? The families looked at the pair again and then moved to clusters of pumpkins farther away. The figure turned its head slowly toward them and rested its sunken eyes upon them. Cass stepped backward as her blood ran cold. Its harsh mouth moved slowly but there was no sound, and she could not read the terrible lips. What's it trying to say? Shep asked. I don't want to know. I don't want it looking at me anymore. She continued to walk backward. The figure frowned and turned forward as it continued its slow trek. How do we hear it? I don't. Okay, let's have him say. He said, I don't even know how we are seeing it. The glass, Shep said, and the glasses. I don't know. Shep looked down at his feet. What is the same as glasses for your ears? Cass was still unnerved, but she laughed anyway. She said, filters, headphones, speakers. Shep ran back to his house and she followed, but she knew he was coming back. Alright, I'm going to take the back out here because I'm using it a lot. Alright. Shep handed her one earbud as they approached the figure a few feet farther along. They saw it, but still heard nothing. It's connected to your phone, Cass said. What do you expect to hear? Their Bluetooth, though. Do you think ghosts are connected to your Wi-Fi? Do you think he's a ghost? Cass looked at the figure and then away at anything else she could find. Cass looked at the figure and then looked away at anything she could find. I'm not sure of anything. Then they did hear something. The words came slowly, then in bunches, and even repeated themselves. Alright, I don't need a quotation mark there. Nobody's saying that. Okay, and they repeated themselves like with seeing the figure. Once they had it clearly, they couldn't unsee it, or in this case, unhear it. There is no safe. I'm going to put the creature's words differently. So let's do this. There are no safe worlds left. Shep looked at Cass as if he expected her to make sense of it. You're gonna read Vampire Christ. All right. I'm gonna have the second one done maybe before the end of the year, so you may be timing that pretty well. Hope you like it. Election season is a weird season. Shep looked at Cass as if he expected her to make sense of it. She didn't even want to be here. They are coming. They're after me. I can't get away. They are much slower than me, but they never give up. I'm never safe. Let's see, I'm never safe if they come to your world. If they come to your world, you won't be either. What does it mean? He looked up the slope as if he expected to see something coming. Cass raked the earbud out of her ear. As it fell to the ground, she realized the creature's lips were moving again. She pulled off the glasses too, but she knew that didn't change anything. What do you mean? Shep looked at the emptiness. Cass knew was full. Alright, let's wrap this up. I'm gonna pull Cass's senses out of it, even though she's our viewpoint character, and then have Shep finish the exchange just from his side. After a pause in which his mouth opened wider and wider, Shep said, "Can you leave?" Now, hold on. "Are you leading them here?" In the silence, children laughed. A man shouted something that echoed over the open land. Shep stared and listened. She was tempted to retrieve the earpiece and glasses, but wasn't sure she wanted to know the answers. Can you just leave like you came and spare us? Shep said. Cass understood his words and feared she could guess the other side of the conversation, but it was still odd. Shep didn't talk like that. This was formal and desperate. It was too adult. Same paragraph. She thought about Shep's mom not wanting them alone in the same room when no one was home. Things had changed. Alright. How long do we have? Shep asked. Astico said. Cass discovered she couldn't swallow. Stop talking to him. Shep said, I'll do what I can, but I don't know if I can do that. Shep, don't. She wasn't sure why she said it. I'll try. It's all I can do. He turned away, pulling the earpiece and the glasses to reveal he was crying. She grabbed up the glasses and Bud she'd dropped and then followed. Shep, you don't have to do anything he said. He ran into his house, still crying. Before she stepped into his yard, she looked up the slope again. She couldn't be sure, and it wasn't as clear as the first figure, but she thought she might have glimpsed something bigger and slower for an instant. Shep wouldn't tell her what upset him so much that day, and she wasn't sure she ever wanted to know. Alright, so I'm not positive that's going to be the final ending of the story, but for now, for first draft, I think that's got it. So again, we started with the title Creepy Guy in the Pumpkin Patch. and then ran with it a little bit. I I didn't want to pull anything cliche or like something that would be like a silly twist in the story or whatever. So I tried to play it as straight as I could. You got this thing in the field that's not really coming to them as a definite threat, but there's this sort of filter between them, and they get to see it, they get to hear it, and then it's coming with a warning. This thing that's from another dimension, apparently, that moves in a different time frame than ours, is running from something bigger, something more threatening than itself, and that something is coming and apparently can't be stopped. So these kids, there's something over the horizon that's frightening that they don't completely understand. Maybe that's a theme I could pull out in terms of loss of innocence or something along those lines. In a later draft, maybe we play on that a little bit more or something. But I kind of like the idea that it's just this unspecified threat over the hill that is coming very very slowly, but is maybe inevitable, and maybe that's how all threats work in life.